Hello everyone, it's Deb Floros and my channel is Deb Loves Jewelry. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back if you're already a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber yet, I'd love for you to subscribe and check out my other videos and join me on my little YouTube journey. So I'm making this video to tell you about using crimp covers. What are crimp covers, you ask? Well, they are a little tiny metal tool that you can use to cover up crimps that you use to finish jewelry. And crimp covers come in all different metals, all different sizes, and they even come with texture. So this is a fairly large one, and you can see it's kind of a clamshell or a C shape. And the intention is it's open so that you can fit it over a crimp and close it. Here's a darker tone metal, like a chocolate metal. This is sometimes how they come, so you'll have to use some pliers to gently pull them apart. That's an antique copper colored crimp cover, and that's much smaller than these large ones I first showed. So they come in lots of different sizes because crimps come in lots of different sizes as well. So that's a sampling of sizes and shapes. And here's a beadle-on kit that includes different sizes and different textures of metal. These are kind of corrugated, really cool. So they add a nice little flair to the end of your jewelry piece. These are actually like a stardust finish, so they have a little bit of sparkle on them. So lots to choose from. You'll want to be sure that you pick a crimp cover that works with the crimp tube that you're working with, so it fits over it, it's the right size, and it takes a little bit of practice to get all of that right. So if you're using the right kind of crimp for your project, you should be able to find a crimp cover that will work. So I'm just putting a crimp onto a little tester piece of wire here. I'm going to just leave a loop at one end, and I'm going to add a bead, just a fun little bead in my on my work table here. And I'm just putting this on so that we can practice putting on our crimp covers. So I'm just crimping on both sides and just doing a standard crimp technique. Just put your wire back through the crimp tube and crimp it. And I'm just going to leave it like this so I've got a little something to hold on to. So this is a 2x2 crimp tube, and I'm going to just kind of look here and see which crimp cover is going to work best. Generally, a 2mm crimp cover is what's going to work best for your crimp cover. However, sometimes you may choose a larger crimp cover. A smaller one likely won't fit or will be very, very difficult to fit. And even sometimes a 2x2 requires a little bit of action with pliers to pull it open, and be careful because they'll fly away from you. So I'm taking that crimp and pushing it over the crimp, and sometimes that can be a little bit tricky. I'm not going to lie. Very challenging sometimes to get it over that crimp. Just be patient, keep trying. You want to make sure next that you're going to close that crimp cover up. And I never, ever, ever recommend that you take pliers and you just scrunch them together. I really like to use the large crimp tube crimper tool. And this is for heavy duty crimps, but you see there's a very large opening at the back near the back of the plier. That actually works really great. And I'm sorry I didn't get a great shot of the crimp cover in there, but I'm actually taking that round section of the crimping pliers and I'm very carefully closing up that crimp cover. There it is. You can kind of see how that's working. So that tool has a nice heavy duty ability to close things up. So I'm just very carefully pushing that around, kind of turning the crimp tube and the crimpers around a little bit. Now your crimp is going to want to close like sort of wonky. And you can fix that by taking some chain nose pliers and kind of pushing them together, then bringing your crimper tool back in and getting the round shape back to that crimp cover. It's a little bit of an exercise in manipulation. Now, I also like to use wubbers that have been dipped in tool magic. So it's a little bit of a silicone covering, and it adds a little bite to the plier. So you can really get in there and get a hold of the crimp. Now you want to be gentle. You don't want to push too hard on your tool, but look at that. It's a nice little round bead sitting now next to my bead. So I'm opening up another for the other side, and this time I'm not going to use the crimping tool. I'm just going to use these pliers. And I would say you could use pliers without coating too, but the rule is always going to be the same. Just be very careful. You're going to want to go around, not crimp really hard or push really hard with your pliers. And if you are familiar with magical crimping pliers, how you have to kind of turn the pliers, turn your piece, kind of the same concept. You're just slowly but surely trying to create a rounded little bead. So these look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I've got the two different textured ones there. So this is a large crimp cover, and it's sometimes a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. So sometimes you want a bigger bead at the end of your piece, but I'll tell you, the bigger that little crimp cover is, the more that it could potentially get wonky on you as you close it, because it wants to collapse because it's got room to collapse. So I do the same technique, just very, very carefully take my pliers around, kind of go around and around very slowly, very small movements with the pliers. And look, you've got another cool bead. So it is possible to do even a larger crimp cover on a 2x2 or smaller crimp. So I hope that this is helpful to you guys. I really do think the key is going slow, being careful, just go at a nice pace, and don't try to push those pieces together too hard. You're just going to have to do the whole thing over again and maybe restring your piece. So just be very careful and give crimp covers a try. I appreciate that you are watching this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. Thanks so much.